I had just snapped the cover back onto the outside AC unit when Denise Hart opened the back door and said, "Not so fast. I still need you." That was not a sentence a man should hear from his best friend's mother while he was holding a socket wrench and sweating through his shirt in her backyard. I looked over my shoulder. "Need me for what?" I asked. She leaned against the doorframe like she had been standing there longer than she wanted to admit. Denise was in her late 40s, maybe 50, but she didn't move like someone who had given up on being noticed. She had this calm, careful way about her. Not flashy, not trying, just present. And yes, she was attractive. I noticed. Then I immediately told myself not to be an idiot. "For dinner," she said. I set the wrench into my tool bag. That unit's fixed. Dinner wasn't on the invoice. I'm not invoicing you for the lasagna. That's generous. I usually charge extra for being fed. She smiled, but there was something tired behind it. Ryan was supposed to come by tonight. He canceled again. I made too much food, and I don't feel like eating alone while pretending I meant to. Ryan was my closest friend. We were both 25. We had worked summer jobs together, wrecked one old pickup together, and helped each other move enough furniture to qualify as unpaid professionals. His mom, Denise, had been around the edges of my life for years. She was always polite, always composed, always Mrs. Hart, even after she told me a dozen times to call her Denise. This was different. The house was too quiet behind her. The kind of quiet that made her invitations sound less casual than she probably wanted it to sound. "I don't want to make it weird," I said. She tilted her head. "Jake, you just spent 2 hours elbow deep in my air conditioner in 90-degree heat. That's mechanical weird. Social weird is a drive a hard bargain. I know, I should have left. Not because anything bad had happened, but because I felt the shift before I understood it. I was used to being useful. Fix a unit, change a tire, haul a couch, answer a call. That was my lane. I stayed in it because people liked a helpful man who didn't ask for much. It kept life simple. But Denise wasn't asking for a repair. She was asking for company. If I had known that one plate of lasagna was going to rearrange my whole life, I would still wash my hands. That's the part people never believe. I saw the warning sign, and I walked right past it because the woman at the door looked lonely. And I was hungry, and maybe I was lonely too. I carried my tool bag inside and set it by the laundry room. She pointed toward the kitchen. "Sink's there. Towels are in the drawer. You give orders like Ryan. Ryan gives orders like me. Don't mix up the source." Fair. At the sink, I scrubbed grease from my fingers while she moved around behind me, taking a pan from the oven and setting plates on the counter. I tried not to watch too much. That made me watch more than I should've. She noticed. "What?" she asked. "Nothing. That's convincing. I'm just making sure you don't poison me. With lasagna, that's how they get you. Nobody suspects the pasta." She laughed, and it changed the room, not dramatically, just enough, like she had forgotten she could. We sat at the small kitchen table instead of the dining room. She poured iced tea into 2 glasses and slid one toward me. "So," she said, "Ryan tells me you're thinking about starting your own HVAC business. He tells you that? He tells me less than he thinks. I listen better than he remembers. That sounds like a mom's skill. It's a survival skill." I took a bite and pointed my fork at the plate. "Okay, this is good. Only okay? I'm pacing where you say it." The fork paused halfway to my mouth. She looked down at her plate like she hadn't meant it to land that way. I kept my voice light. "Well, I'm glad to support your confidence. Very noble of you. That's me. A public service in work boots. For a while we talked about safe things. Work, the AC unit. Ryan's job at the insurance office. The neighborhood." She asked questions that didn't feel automatic. "How many calls do you run in a week?" "Depends. Summer, too many. You like it?" "I like fixing things. I like knowing what's wrong and putting it right." "That sounds peaceful." "It can be. Machines are honest. They don't pretend nothing's wrong while leaking all over the floor." She looked at me over the rim of her glass. That was oddly specific. "I've dated." There it is. What? The 25-year-old version of wisdom. I leaned back. You're mocking me after I saved your house from becoming a sauna? A little cold. I have air conditioning now. I can be cold. I laughed before I could stop myself. It felt too easy. That was what caught me. Not the way she looked, though that didn't help. It was the ease. She wasn't treating me like Ryan's buddy who came by with tools. She was talking to me like a man at her table. After dinner, I stood to clear my plate. She reached for it. Leave it. I can help. You already did. I fixed a condenser. Dishes won't scare me. Jake. I stopped. Sit down for a minute. There was nothing demanding in her voice, but I sat. She took the plates anyway, rinsed them, and loaded the dishwasher. I watched the careful way she busied herself. Like if she stopped moving, the silence would get too loud. Ryan cancels often? I asked. She kept her back to me. He's busy. That wasn't what I asked. No. She closed the dishwasher. He doesn't mean anything by it. He's young. He's also my friend. I can criticize him from a place of deep loyalty and years of unpaid moving labor. That got another smile, but it faded. When his father left, she said, Ryan got protective. Then he got older and decided protective meant in charge. I let him think that sometimes because it was easier than arguing. I didn't jump in. That felt like one of those moments where a man could ruin everything by trying to sound wise. She came back to the table with both glasses and sat across from me again. His father didn't just leave, she continued. He made a new life before telling us the old one was over. I found out in pieces, receipts, lies, a hotel charge. You know, all the classy little souvenirs. I'm sorry. I hate when people say that. Me too. But I didn't have anything better. She nodded. Once. That's fair. The room settled. I could hear the AC running now, steady and smooth. At least one thing in that house was working because of me. She looked toward the hallway. After he left, I stayed busy. Work, Ryan, bills, house, appointments. Then Ryan moved out and the house got quiet. People tell you quiet is peaceful. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it just sits there with you. I understood that more than I wanted to. My apartment was neat, paid for, and empty. I had a decent truck, steady work. Friends who called when something broke and no one waiting when I got home. Yeah, I said. Quiet can be a lot. She studied me. You're alone too, aren't you? That depends how depressing we want this dinner to get. I'm asking. I'm alone, I admitted. Not dramatically. I work. I see Ryan. I help my uncle on weekends sometimes. I keep busy. That's not the same as not being alone. No, it's just better organized. She smiled softly. You always make a joke when you get close to saying something honest. Usually. Saves time. I stood, reached for my tool bag, and made myself do the proper thing. Thanks for dinner, Denise. She walked me to the side door. Thank you for fixing the AC. That part you actually paid for. I know. I'm thanking you for staying. I put one hand on the doorknob, then I turned back. You don't have to wait for something to break to call me. She went still. I heard my own words after they were out. Too direct, too clean. No place to hide. She folded her arms, not coldly, more like she needed something to do with her hands. That's probably not a good idea. Probably not. You're Ryan's friend. I know. I'm old enough to know better. I didn't say you didn't. Then why say it? Because it's true. Her eyes stayed on mine for a second longer than they should have. What exactly are you offering? She asked. Company. Dinner, a ride if you need one. Someone to sit in the backyard and listen. Nothing you don't want. That sounds dangerous. Only if the lasagna comes back. She tried not to smile and failed. Good night, Jake. Good night, Denise. I walked to my truck with the tool bag in my hand and a very clear understanding that something had started, even if neither of us was ready to name it. She didn't call for 3 days. I told myself that was good. I worked, answered service calls, replaced a blower motor for an old couple in Mesa, and ignored my phone like it owed me money. On Thursday evening, it rang. Denise Hart. I stared at the screen long enough for the second ring to sound. Hello? Are you busy? Depends. Is something broken? A pause. No, that one word did more to me than it should have. I leaned against the side of my truck. Then I guess I'm not busy. I have to go to the garden center tomorrow. I need mulch, and Ryan hates helping with that. Ryan hates anything that doesn't come with a chair. He does. You know him well. What time? Fine. 6. The next evening she was waiting outside when I pulled up, not dressed up, not casual, in a careless way either, just ready. I got out and opened the passenger door. She raised an eyebrow. I'm capable of opening a door. I know. Then why do it? Because I'm capable too. She looked at me for a moment, then got in. That was smoother than it should been. I practice on stubborn women at hardware stores. Do you? No, but it sounded useful. At the garden center, we argued over mulch, like a married couple pretending not to enjoy it. This one's cheaper, I said. This one looks better. It's mulch. Its job is to lie on the ground. My front beds are not wearing bargain mulch. That sentence was expensive. She pointed at me. Load 6 bags. Yes, Mom. Don't start with that. You pointed. I responded. She watched me lift the bags into the cart. You always this helpful? Yes, that's not always healthy. No, but it's usually appreciated. She didn't answer right away. In the checkout line, her shoulder brushed mine. Neither of us moved quickly. Then she stepped half an inch away like she had remembered the rules. On the drive back, she asked about my business plans. Not small talk. Real questions. Do you have enough saved for your license and insurance? Almost. Almost means no. Almost means I'm not sleeping under a bridge. It means you're waiting. I'm being careful. Or you're making sure everyone else is comfortable before you do what you want. I glanced at her. That's a lot of diagnosis for a mulch run. She looked out the windshield. Maybe I recognized the habit. I couldn't argue with that. After we unloaded the bags, she invited me for lemonade in the backyard. Lemonade turned into sandwiches. Sandwiches turned into a 2-hour conversation under the patio light. My chest did something stupid. That rule still stands. Good. After that, Denise started calling once or twice a week. Never too eager, never careless. Always with a practical cover. I made too much chili. I need someone tall to change the garage light. I'm going to the farmer's market, and I refuse to be bullied by tomatoes alone. I took the calls. I told myself I was being a friend. Then I told myself I was being helpful. Then I stopped lying and admitted I wanted to see her. The strange part was how normal it became. We'd sit in her backyard after sunset, and she would ask about my day. Not the polite version, the real version. How many calls? 5. Worst one? Guy tried to fix his own thermostat with a steak knife. No, yes. Did it work? Only if his goal was to make me question democracy. She would laugh, then ask, best one. Little girl drew me a picture of the AC unit. Do you keep it? It's in my truck. Of course it is. What does that mean? It means you pretend you're not soft. I am not soft. I am professionally approachable. Sure. She had a dry little sarcasm that showed up when she was comfortable. I liked it too much. I liked the way she challenged me without putting me down. I liked that she didn't act impressed by basic decency. She respected it, but she didn't worship it. One evening, I brought takeout because she had worked late at the dental office where she managed the front desk. You didn't have to bring food, she said. You said you forgot dinner. I mentioned it. You mentioned it loudly. I was on the phone. You sighed into the receiver like a Victorian widow. She took the bag from me. I regret telling you anything. No, you don't. No, she said, softer. I don't. We ate at the kitchen counter that night. She told me about a patient who tried to pay a bill in coins. I told her about crawling through inviting, just close. I looked down once. She noticed and moved her hand away. Sorry, she said. You don't have to apologize. I do. I know what this looks like. What does it look like? She shook her head. Don't. All right. No, I mean it. Don't ask me questions I'm not ready to answer, I nodded. Okay, that mattered. Not because I didn't want the answer. I wanted it badly, but I wanted her to trust that I could hear no, or not yet, or not like this, without turning into a wounded teenager, so I changed the subject. Did the coin guy at least count it first? She stared at me, then laughed so hard she had to put one hand on the counter. Thank you, she said. For what? For not making everything harder. I didn't tell her she was making everything harder just by standing there. The first time the line almost disappeared, it was a Friday night in August. I had come by to fix the latch on her side gate. That was the excuse. It took 12 minutes. You drove 20 minutes for 12 minutes of work, she said. You called. I could have hired someone. You could, but then you'd have to make small talk with a stranger. I'm making small talk with you. No. With me you make medium talk. What's the difference? Small talk is weather. Medium talk is complaining about your son's inability to return containers. She laughed. He still has 3 of mine. He has 2 of my ratchet straps. The man is a menace. We sat outside with coffee, even though it was too late for coffee. She tucked one leg under her on the patio chair and watched me over the cup. You ever think about leaving town? She asked. For work? For life. Sometimes. Then someone's AC dies and I remember I'm trapped by civic duty. I'm serious, I know. I looked toward the yard. I thought about Phoenix, bigger market, more money. I stayed for Ryan. At first because he needed stability. Then because I didn't know what else to do. You get good at a life that doesn't ask much from you. That sounds familiar. Her face changed. Not sad exactly. More like she had stepped too close to the truth and didn't like the temperature there. I shouldn't be talking to you like this, she said. Why? Because I'm supposed to be the grown-up in the room. You are. Then why do I feel like I'm about to do something reckless? The space between us tightened. I set my cup down. Denise, no, don't say it like that. Like what? Like you're going to be decent. That's a complaint now. Tonight it might be. She stood and carried her cup to the kitchen. I followed because leaving felt cowardly and staying felt dangerous. In the doorway, she turned too quickly and bumped into me. My hand went to her arm to steady her. That was all. Just my hand on her arm. Her eyes lifted to mine, and the whole house seemed to stop doing its job. She didn't pull away. I didn't move closer. Neither of us earned a medal for that. It took work. You should go, she whispered. I know. You don't look like you're going. I'm working up to it. A nervous smile touched her mouth. That's honest. I'm trying. Her fingers brushed my wrist, not enough to be an accident and not enough to be a promise. I think about you, she said. I swallowed, then hated myself for reacting like a kid. I think about you too. This is wrong. Is it, Jake? Tell me it's wrong because you don't want it. I'll go right now, and I won't make you explain. Her eyes filled, but she kept her voice steady. That's not why. I nodded once. That answer was enough to make everything harder. I'm still going to leave, I said. Not because I want to, because I don't want you waking up tomorrow feeling like I pushed you. You didn't, I know, but I might. I walked out before I changed my mind. In the truck, I sat for a full minute, hands on the wheel, staring at her closed side door. I had fixed a gate latch and walked into a situation no tool in my bag could solve. After that, we got more careful for about a week, then less careful. That's how these things happen. Not in one dramatic leap. In small permissions. She called me on a Sunday and asked if I wanted to drive out to a farm stand because the peaches were supposed to be good. I said yes before she finished the sentence. We took my truck. She bought too many peaches. I pretended to complain. She made cobbler that night, and I sat at her kitchen table while it cooled. You're staring, she said, at the cobbler. It's on the counter. I'm farsighted emotionally. That doesn't mean anything. It got you to smile. She shook her head, but she was smiling. Later, while she put leftovers away, she asked, Do you feel guilty? I knew what she meant. Sometimes, because of Ryan. Yes, me too. He's my friend. He's my son. That's heavier. It is. I leaned against the counter. Do you want me to stop coming over? She closed the container slowly. No. Then what do you want? I want this not to hurt him. That may not be an option. I know. I can talk to him. No. She turned fast. Not yet. Denise, no, please. He won't understand. He'll make it ugly before I know what this even is. And what is it? She looked at me then. Really looked. I don't know, she said. But it's not nothing. That became the closest thing we had to a definition. Not nothing. We didn't cross every line, but we crossed enough that we couldn't pretend. A hand held too long at the sink, her leaning into me when we stood on the back porch. my thumb brushing the inside of her wrist and both of us going quiet. One night, she rested her head against my shoulder for 10 seconds. She laughed, but it came out shaky. Just stand there. So I did. I was ready to go all the way with her emotionally before either of us was ready to say that out loud. That scared me more than the attraction. Desire is easy to explain. You can blame loneliness, timing, heat, bad judgment. But caring about someone's breakfast habits, their work stress, their empty evenings, the way their voice changes when they're trying not to ask you to stay, that's harder to dismiss. The night Ryan found out, we were in her backyard. I had replaced a loose plank on the small deck earlier, and we stayed outside afterward because that had become our pattern. Her phone buzzed twice on the table. She glanced at it. "Ryan," she said. "Answer. I'll call him back. Denise. I know." She picked it up. "Hi, honey." I stayed quiet. Then her face changed. "No, I'm home." "Yes, I'm outside." "What?" She looked toward the driveway. My truck was parked out front. Of course it was. Ryan had a habit of stopping by her neighborhood on his way home from the gym, because it was a faster route when traffic was bad. I knew that. He had mentioned it a dozen times. I just hadn't thought about it because people in trouble rarely get caught by something exotic. Usually it's a habit everyone already knows. Denise stood. "Ryan, don't." She stopped listening. My phone rang 10 seconds later. "Ryan." Denise stared at my phone like it might explode. "Answer it," she said. I did. "Tell me this is not what it looks like," Ryan snapped. I stepped away from the table. "What do you think it looks like? Don't do that. Don't play smart with me. I'm not playing. You're at my mom's house at 9:30 at night." "Yes." "Why?" "Because she invited me." Silence. Then he said, "That's my mother. I know who she is." "You fixing something?" "Not tonight." He made a "She's lonely, and you're there, and now you think what, you're special?" My jaw tightened. I kept my voice level. "Don't talk about her like she can't make her own choices. Don't you say that to me." I just did. "She's my mom, Jake, and she's Denise. Both things are true. You need to end whatever this is. That's not just my decision. It better be." "No." He went quiet again, but it wasn't calm. "No, no. I'm not going to pretend I don't care about her because you're angry." "You care about her?" "Yes." "You expect me to believe that?" "I don't control what you believe. Stay away from her. I'm not going to fight you over the phone. You already lost me." That hit. I looked back at Denise. She stood near the patio table with one hand pressed to her stomach, watching my face. "Ryan," I said, "I'm not trying to take anything from you. You already did." The call ended. I lowered the phone. Denise didn't move. "What did he say?" "Nothing good." She covered her face with one hand, then dropped it. "I need to talk to him." "I know." He sounded hurt. He sounded angry. That's hurt with volume. "Yeah." She walked inside and I followed as far as the kitchen. She gripped the counter. "I did this," she said. "We did this. No, he's my son. I should have handled it before it got here." We both avoided the hard part. She looked at me. "Don't make this noble. I'm not. I can't lose him." "I'm not asking you to. I can't choose between." "Denise." I kept my voice low. "Don't finish that sentence tonight." She pressed her lips together. "Talk to him," I said. "Take care of what you need to take care of. I'll step back." Her eyes sharpened. "What does that mean?" "It means I won't push. I won't show up. I won't make this harder while you deal with him." "And us?" "Yous is still us unless you tell me it isn't." She looked like she wanted to come closer. She didn't. "You should go," she said. "I know." Texted once. "I'm here when you're ready." No response. 2 days later, I called again. It rang until voicemail. By the 5th day, I understood what was happening. She was gone from my life without saying goodbye, because saying goodbye would make it real, and maybe silence felt kinder to her. It wasn't. Silence is just a locked door with no instructions. Ryan didn't call either. I tried him once. He answered with, "Don't, that's all, that's all." "I'm not calling to argue." "Then don't call." Click. That was the whole friendship, apparently. Years of loyalty reduced to one syllable and a dead line. For about a week, I was angry. Not loud angry. I still worked. I still paid bills. I still answered customers and shook hands and crawled into attics. But underneath it, I kept thinking, Really? That's how we're doing this. Everybody gets to feel something except me? Then one night I drove halfway to Denise's house without fully admitting where I was going. I pulled into a gas station 2 miles away and sat there like a man preparing to do something stupid. I had my phone in my hand. I could go knock. I could make her face me. I could tell her silence was unfair. I could demand an answer. I didn't, because wanting someone doesn't give you the right to corner them. And if Denise had chosen her peace, or her son's peace, over me, I had to respect that even if it cut me open. I deleted the message I had typed. Then I sent one final text. I won't keep reaching for you. I care about you, and I'm grateful for what we had. I'm going to step back now. I hope you're okay. She didn't answer. I drove home. That was the hardest thing I did in the whole story. Not fixing the AC, not facing Ryan, not hearing Denise cry later. The hardest thing was walking away without turning my hurt into pressure. The month after that was ugly. I opened a separate account. I stopped waiting for life to become convenient. My Uncle Frank noticed because he noticed everything while pretending not to. We were in his garage replacing brake pads on his old truck when he said, "You're moving like a man trying not to think." "I'm working." "No, you're punishing a caliper. It deserves it." He looked over the hood. "Woman?" I laughed once. "That obvious? To me? Yes. To a normal person? Maybe not. It's complicated. It always is when a man uses that voice. She's someone I shouldn't have wanted. Married? No. Mean? No. Using you? No. Then shouldn't is doing a lot of lifting." I didn't answer. He wiped his hands on a rag. "You hurt anybody on purpose?" "No." "You lie?" "No." "You pressure her?" "No." "Then stand by what you did and accept what it costs. That's the whole job." Great. Very comforting. I'm not a pillow. That was Frank. He could hand you brake cleaner and a life principle in the same breath. I thought Ryan and I were finished. Then he showed up at my apartment on a Tuesday evening. I opened the door and found him standing there in work pants and a polo, looking like he hadn't slept right in weeks. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "Can I come in?" "That depends." "You here to swing or talk?" He glared. "I'm not swinging." "Good. I'd hate to explain to your mom that I had to embarrass you. That mouth is why people want to hit you, but they don't, because they know." He almost smiled. Almost. Then he looked away. I stood aside. He came in and stood near the kitchen counter without sitting. I didn't offer coffee. We weren't there yet. "How serious was it?" he asked. "No hello? Jake." I leaned against the opposite counter. "Serious. How serious?" "I love her." He looked like I had punched him with a sentence. "Don't say that. No. Stop saying that like it solves anything. It doesn't solve it. It just means I'm not confused." He stared at me. "Did you plan it?" "No." "Did she?" "No." "Did you go over there looking for this?" "No." "I went over there because her AC died." "And after?" "After, I went because she asked me to. Then because I wanted to. Then because staying away felt dishonest." His jaw worked. "You should have told me." "Yes." That surprised him. I continued, "I should have talked to you before you found out by seeing my truck. I didn't because I was afraid you'd react exactly how you reacted. That's not an excuse. No. It's the reason." He paced 3 steps and stopped. "She's been bad, man." I didn't move. "Bad how?" "She doesn't go anywhere. She barely answers me. I took groceries over Sunday and half the fridge was empty. She said she wasn't hungry." My stomach dropped. "I thought if I shut it down, she'd be embarrassed for a week and then normal," he said. "But she's not normal. She hasn't talked to me." "I know. I stopped reaching out. I know that too." "How?" "She told me." That one landed hard. Ryan looked at the floor. "She said you respected her silence, like it was some great thing. I hated you for that." "Reasonable." "No, it wasn't. It made it harder to pretend you were the problem." I folded my arms. "What do you want from me?" "The truth." "You got it." "No." "The full truth." If I said I could get over the weird part, and I'm not saying I'm there yet, what would you actually want with her?" I took a breath. I owed him the cleanest answer I had. "I want to build a life with her if she wants that too. Not hide in her backyard, not sneak around you, not make her feel like she has to apologize for wanting something. I want dinner on normal nights and errands and arguments about mulch and waking up next to someone who actually wants me there. I want. You rehearsed that? No. Unfortunately, that was spontaneous, so now we both have to live with it. He looked away, and this time he did smile for half a second. Then his face tightened again. I was selfish. I didn't say anything. I know that's what you want me to say, he added. I didn't say a word. You were thinking it loudly. Fine, a little. He leaned against the counter. When my dad left, I became the man in the house. Or I thought I did. Mom let me feel important. Then you came along, and I saw your truck outside, and it felt like I'd been replaced. You're her son, Ryan. No one replaces that. I know it up here. He tapped his temple. The rest of me acted like an idiot. That happens. I told her she was humiliating herself. I went still. His voice dropped. I know. That hurt her. I know. No, you don't. Not fully. He nodded, taking it. I'm going to apologize. You should. I already tried. She said she forgave me, which is what she says when she doesn't want to fight. That sounds like her. He looked at me then. I'm sorry. There it was. Not perfect. Not enough to erase the month. But real. I appreciate that, I said. I'm not going to be thrilled overnight. I'm not asking you to hang a banner. Good, because the banner would be rude. I'd expect nothing less. If she calls you, answer. My chest went tight. Did she say she would? No, but I told her I was coming here. You gave her permission? He winced. Don't put it like that. Then don't make it that. I told her I was wrong, he said. I told her if she wanted to talk to you, I wouldn't stand in the doorway anymore. That was the first time I saw Ryan not as the guy blocking me, but as a son finally realizing his mother had a life that didn't belong to him. He left 10 minutes later. We didn't hug. We weren't there yet either. At the door, he turned back. Extremely. Good. As long as we're clear. We're clear. He walked to his car, and I shut the door. For the next 3 hours, I did nothing useful. I cleaned a counter that was already clean. I checked my phone like a teenager, which annoyed me on principle. I made coffee at 8 at night and then didn't drink it. At 9:17, my phone rang. Denise, I answered before the second ring. Hey. For a moment, I only heard her breathing. Then she said, I'm sorry. Her voice cracked on the second word. I sat down on the edge of the couch. Denise, I'm sorry, Jake. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to fix it. Ryan was so angry, and I panicked, and then every day I didn't call made it harder to call. I know. No, let me say it. Please. Okay. I was a coward. I don't think that. I do. I let my fear make the choice. I told myself I was protecting my son, but I was also protecting myself from having to stand up and say I wanted something. Someone, you. I closed my eyes. She kept going. You gave me space. You didn't punish me. You didn't chase me. That made me miss you more, which was very inconvenient, by the way. A laugh came out of me, rough and relieved. Sorry for being inconvenient. You always were. True. I love you, she said. There was no decoration around it, no perfect speech. Just her, finally done hiding. I stood because sitting still became impossible. I love you too, she cried then, not loudly. Not dramatically, but enough that I hated every mile between us. I don't want to start where we left off, she said. I want to start honestly. No sneaking, no pretending you're there to fix things when nothing's broken. Good. You're not angry? I was. And now? Now I want to see you. A shaky breath. Tonight? Yes. Jake, it's late. Denise, you called the man with the truck. Let's not insult the process. She looked tired, thinner than before, but when she saw me, something in her face came back to life. Neither of us rushed. That mattered. We stood there for a second, looking at each other like we needed proof. Hi, she said. Hi, I made tea. Of course you did. I panicked. Tea is a respectable panic response. She stepped back and I walked in. We sat at the same kitchen table where the first dinner had happened, no lasagna this time. Just 2 mugs and a lot of damage between us. She reached across the table, palm up. I took her hand. I talked to Ryan, she said. He came to me. I know. He's trying. He is. He apologized. Then he asked if he had to call you Dad someday. I nearly choked. He did not. He did. That's emotional warfare. I told him if he ever said it again, I'd put him in charge of cleaning the garage, strong parenting. She smiled, then she got serious. He's not okay with it completely, I know. But he's trying because he saw what it did to me. And because he saw you didn't turn ugly when I disappeared. I wanted to. I know. I mean not ugly ugly. More like mildly dramatic with a speech. I'm sorry I denied the world that performance. Probably for the best. My speeches run long. She squeezed my hand. I don't want to waste more time. Neither do I. But I need us to be careful. Not hidden. Careful. Ryan needs space to adjust. I need space to stop feeling guilty for being happy. Then we do it carefully. You make that sound easy. It won't be. No, but I can handle difficult. I work in Arizona attics. She laughed softly. That is your answer to everything. It's a strong credential. We didn't solve everything that night. We didn't pretend the month had been a misunderstanding and skip straight to perfect. I stayed until midnight, and then I went home because we both needed to prove we could choose each other. Without neutral ground, public place. No one could throw a wrench or a childhood memory. He sat across from me and said, I still hate knowing things. Then don't ask things. I hate that answer too. I'm full of options. He stirred his coffee. She's happier. I know. That helps. It should. It does. I'm just not used to seeing her as a person who dates. I'm not dating a category, Ryan. He looked up. I'm with Denise, I said. Your mom is part of who she is. It's not all she is. He nodded slowly. Yeah, that conversation didn't heal everything, but it gave us a place to stand. Denise and I stopped hiding, not loudly. We didn't make announcements or perform our happiness for anyone. I took her to dinner in town. I walked beside her at the farmer's market. I came by on Sundays when Ryan was there, and the first few times were so uncomfortable I considered faking a work emergency. Ryan opened the door one afternoon, saw me, and said, The AC is fine. I'm here for your mother. Still hate that. Noted. Denise called from the kitchen. Ryan, be nice. I am being nice. I didn't shut the door. I stepped inside. Growth. He pointed at me. Don't push it. But he moved aside. That was how it happened. Inch by inch. Bad jokes. Forced patience. Normal dinners that were not normal at first. Ryan testing whether I would act smug. Me making sure I never did. Denise refusing to shrink herself just to make the room easier. One Sunday, she corrected Ryan in front of me. He made some comment about me, always being around now, and Denise set down the serving spoon. Ryan, he looked up. You don't get to talk like I'm being borrowed from you. The room went quiet. He glanced at me, then back at her. I didn't mean. I know what you meant. I love you. Nothing changes that. But I am not going to apologize for having a life. Ryan swallowed. Okay. She nodded. You were impressive. She buckled her seatbelt. I was terrified. Didn't show. It showed to me. That doesn't count. You're biased. She reached over and touched my hand. Thank you for not jumping in. You didn't need me to. No. But I needed you to know that. I did know. That was the night I stopped feeling like I had accidentally walked into someone else's family and started feeling like maybe we were building a new version of it. 6 months after the AC broke, my lease came up. I didn't bring it up right away. I had learned a few things by then, including the fact that timing matters and bravery without patience is just mess with better posture. Denise brought it up while we were repainting her guest room, which had slowly become the place where my jacket, work boots, spare shirts, and half my life had started appearing. She stood in the doorway with a paint roller in her hand. Your lease ends next month. I looked over. That sounds like information. It is, loaded information. Maybe. I set my brush across the tray. What are you asking? She took a breath. I'm asking if you want to stop pretending you only keep a toothbrush here because you are forgetful. That toothbrush has served this relationship with dignity. It has. It can retire. I walked closer. Are you sure? No. I smiled a little. Honest, I'm sure I want it. I'm not sure I won't wake up some mornings and panic because my life changed. I can work with panic. I know. I'll still keep my own work, my own account, my own brain. I would hope so. I'm not moving in to be rescued, and you're not asking me to rescue you. No, she said. I'm asking you to come home. That got me. I didn't answer with a speech. I just said, yes. Ryan's reaction was exactly what you'd expect from a man trying to be supportive while actively suffering. He came, you know this means I can never crash here drunk after a barbecue. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. I said after a barbecue, not after a crime. Denise walked past with a box. You can still stay in the guest room if you need to. Ryan pointed at me. He just called it my mom's house in his head. I saw it. I absolutely did not, I said. You did. I was thinking about safe lifting technique. You were thinking, my house now, buddy. I looked at Denise. He's handling this beautifully. She smiled. He's doing his best. Ryan sighed. I am. It's just weird. Denise kissed his cheek as she passed. We know. He rolled his eyes, but he helped move the dresser. That day mattered because nobody pretended it was simple. Ryan had moments where the old discomfort came back. I had moments where I wondered if I had asked too much of a friendship. Denise had moments where guilt tapped her on the shoulder and tried to call itself responsibility. But the difference was we talked now. We didn't hide behind silence. My business picked up that spring. Having Denise in my corner changed more than I expected. Not because she did the work for me. She didn't. She just asked the right questions and refused to let me shrink my own plans. Did you call the commercial property manager back? She asked one morning while I packed my lunch. I will. When? Soon. Jake. I'll call today. You're good at this. Stop acting like asking for bigger contracts is theft. I'm not acting like theft. More like suspicious borrowing. Call. Yes, Mom. Don't start with that. You pointed, I responded. She threw a dish towel at me. I deserved it. By summer, I had 2 part-time helpers and enough work to stop worrying every slow week meant disaster. Ryan sent me referrals from his office. The first time he did, his text read, "Don't make me regret being mature." I wrote the same as before. Better in some ways, stranger in others. We had lost the lazy ease of 2 guys who never had to think too hard about boundaries. We gained honesty. That sounds less fun, and sometimes it is, but it lasts longer. A year after that first AC repair, Denise and I hosted dinner in the backyard. Ryan came with his girlfriend, Megan, who had the calm confidence of a woman who enjoyed watching men learn basic emotional skills in real time. My Uncle Frank came too, mostly because Denise made ribs, and he respected competent cooking. At one point, Ryan looked at me across the table and said, "Remember when this all started because you fixed the AC? I should charged more." She shook her head. "You were overpaid in lasagna." "Disagree." Frank grunted. "Anybody who gets paid in lasagna and a good woman should stop negotiating." Megan raised her glass. "That may be the smartest thing said tonight." Ryan leaned back. "I'm surrounded." Denise reached under the table and took my hand. I looked around that backyard and thought about the man I had been when I first walked in with my tool bag. Helpful, reliable. Alone in a way I had made look practical. I used to think wanting more would inconvenience people, that if I kept myself easy to deal with, nobody would have to make room for me. Denise made room. Then she asked me to make room for myself, too. Later that night, after everyone left, we stood in the kitchen loading plates into the dishwasher. She handed me a glass. "You're quiet, thinking. Dangerous. Very. About what?" I closed the dishwasher and leaned back against the counter. "About how you said you still needed me." She smiled. "I did need you." The AC was fixed, but dinner was getting cold. Very romantic. I was nervous. "You hit it well. I'm a grown woman. We have skills." She stepped closer. "Do you regret staying?" "No. Even with Ryan?" "Even with Ryan. Even with the month apart?" I took her hand. "I hated that month." "I know. But no, I don't regret anything that brought us here." Her eyes softened and she nodded once, like she could accept that answer without trying to fix the pain attached to it. We still had ordinary problems, bills, work stress, Ryan's awkward jokes. My habit of taking extra jobs when I should rest. Denise's habit of pretending she wasn't worried until it leaked out sideways. We argued about where tools belonged. We argued about how many throw pillows a couch could survive. We argued about whether my old recliner had character, or needed mercy. For the record, it had character. She won anyway. But most nights I came home to a house that felt lived in. Not quiet in that empty way. Quiet in the way a place gets after dinner, when someone you love is in the next room and neither of you has to perform to keep the peace. The AC still runs fine, by the way. I check it twice a year. Denise says that's excessive. I say preventative maintenance is important. Ryan says I'm just emotionally attached to the unit that ruined his life. He's wrong. It didn't ruin anything. It exposed what was already waiting: her loneliness, my habit of staying useful instead of honest, Ryan's fear of losing his place, and the fact that sometimes an adult life begins the moment everybody stops pretending comfort is the same as happiness. I went to that house to fix a machine. I stayed because a woman looked me in the eye and asked me not to leave yet. And somehow, for once in my life, I let myself be needed for more than my hands. Would you have told Ryan the truth earlier, or waited like Jake did? Could you accept your best friend dating your mother if you knew the feelings were real?